Welcome to the Man City podcast, the first of the new season. I'm your host, Rob Pollard, and it's a special episode today because we're celebrating the arrival of Jack Grealish. The England midfielder put pen to paper on a 6-year deal on Thursday, and the excitement across the City fan base has been palpable ever since. The 25-year-old joins, having made 213 appearances over the course of 8 seasons with Aston Villa, scoring 32 goals and assisting 43. In a whirlwind first day at the club, Jack and I sat down to discuss the move, and here is that interview in full. Jack, congratulations on signing for City. We're all delighted that you're here. How are you feeling now that everything's sorted and done and dusted?
No, I'm over the moon. To come and play for a club like Man City is obviously massive. For me personally. It was obviously a difficult few months because I think I've obviously been at Aston Villa for my whole life. But when I spoke to the manager here, and you see what type of players that they've got here, in the end, it was something that I couldn't say no to. And yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
So you're leaving Villa after 19 years, it's a very long time. So how important is it for you to be joining a club where you've got some familiar faces from the England setup?
Yeah, that helps massively. We speak anyway when we're away at England about our own clubs and stuff, and the likes of Stones, Raz, Phil, and Walks, had nothing but good words to say, whenever it's been mentioned. But yeah, obviously, I'll get to know everyone. I've obviously played against City a lot. I've never really been successful. I've had a few pumpings by them. So it'd be nice to be playing with them rather than against them.
City are the most successful club in England over the last 10 years. I think we've won 10 trophies in the last 4 seasons alone. For you, is that the main reason to come here, to have that opportunity to win? Not just the odd trophy, but win the biggest prizes in the game.
Yeah, of course, that's the main reason. There's obviously a lot of reasons, why I decided to come here. Obviously, the manager, been a massive factor in that. Playing under the best manager in the world was something that I couldn't really turn down. Obviously, the players that you've got here. I think everyone knows how much I admire Kevin, and it's going to be a dream come true to play alongside him. But yeah, competing for trophies, for major trophies, is something that I wanted to do, and like I said, it was something that in the end I couldn't turn down. And let's hope it's a successful one.
You mentioned the manager there. I think a lot of people feel that your style of play will fit quite nicely into the way that Pep sets the team up. Was that another consideration of yours? You want to play for a team that's kind of suited to your game? Yeah,
of course. When I come here this morning, I had a long chat with him, about positions and stuff like that, all football. And it was such a positive chat, and it just shows why I want to play under him. I've heard nothing but good words about him from the lads at England, and I just can't wait to get started. Really, like I said, there was quite a few factors of why I wanted to come. Like we just mentioned, competing for trophies, playing in the Champions League was a massive thing for me. I haven't done that yet, and that's what when I was sitting there on a Tuesday, Wednesday night last year, it was just what I wanted to do, and to be able to do it with this club is going to be a dream.
We tend to play 4-3-3 formation here. Now you could probably play in the middle of that, in central midfield, 3 positions, or somewhere along the front line. Where do you see yourself, and what do you think your best position is?
It's a difficult one, People always ask me this, what do I think my best position is? I prefer other people to answer it for me. I just love being on the pitch, just playing. I think the way this team's set up to play suits me down to a T. The way the manager likes to play suits me. I've spoke to the manager, like I said already, about positions and stuff, and personally, I think I could play, as one of the eights, if the manager ever plays a 10, either wing or even, as a false nine, like you've seen Kevin or Phil do last season. Raz has done it as well. So I feel like I can play in a lot of positions, and one thing that I can say is, when I do get on the pitch, I'll be giving it more wherever I'm playing.
You've got a very distinctive style. For those who don't know, some of the City fans who might not know this, just explain why you wear children's shin pads and why your socks are a little bit lower than perhaps the average sock would be.
Do you know what? There's like a few stories, a few different ones somewhere, I think. Who said that? Because I ain't. So what it was, I'm not actually a superstitious person, but when I was about 15 or 16, I think I was 15, I was playing for the under-18s, and that year we were sponsored by Macron, I think it was, and the socks just kept shrinking, and you weren't really a first team player, so you couldn't really go in and be like, give me a new pair of socks every day. So I just kept wearing them, and then they wouldn't come over my calves within about two months into the season. And that season, I probably had my season where, I took off and started kicking on. So I started wearing them in games and stuff, and then it was just one of them where I just thought, I want to keep this. So I kept it, and, it's just, I don't know, I can't say it's worked ever since, but, I think it's my style now, and it's something that I do and I'm going to keep.
You made your Villa debut at the Etihad. You came on for the last couple of minutes of a game where Yaya Toure scored.
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
I could not catch him.
It's probably the most Yaya Toure goal I think he ever scored. But what are your memories of that night and playing against City here and making your debut?
No, it was unbelievable. I remember on the Saturday I was actually playing for Notts County on the last game of the season, and went back to Villa on the Monday to train, and got told that I was going to be in the squad. I never really thought that I was going to come on. And when I did get the call to come on, I was absolutely over the moon. It was obviously a brilliant night, something that I'll remember forever. But yeah, I'll also remember obviously just seeing the back of Yaya Toure and just not being able to catch him. He was absolutely unplayable that night. And I actually wrote something about it on Twitter not long ago, and he replied to it. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was his best season he ever had for City, that's for sure. You mentioned before you've played against City many times. Just try and give us an opponent's perspective then. So what do we do well, and what do we, why do we make it hard for the opposition? What is it about us?
I'm not even just saying this. You just everything. I remember after the game in, was it April? I think it was. I was injured at the time, and I actually said it was funny because I walked down to the tunnel after to go and see the lads, and the manager here, Pep, was speaking to the manager at Villa, Dean Smith, and I just went and spoke with him, and me and Dean Smith both said to Pep, we said that was the best performance I've actually ever seen at Villa Park. And even though it was only 2-1, it was just frightening. I think Stonesy got sent off, and you were down to 10 for a while, and the way they just dominated the game, moved the ball. It was just it was frightening. And obviously there's so much I could go on all day, about how good City are as a team. And that's one of the main factors as well why I wanted to come here, because it just drags you in, and it's something that you want to be a part of, and that's one of the main reasons why I came here.
Micah Richards is a really important Manchester City figure, both as a past player and as a person now, and obviously you were teammates at Villa. He's a very, very big fan of yours. He kind of tries to promote you at every turn. Have you spoken to him since you made the decision? And if so, what did he say to you?
Do you know what? I actually haven't. I'm surprised actually, because I get on well with him and Julian Lescott, who obviously had both of them had a successful time here. But yeah, no, I haven't spoken to either of them. I I don't know if they didn't want to act like, they were trying to get information or something. But yeah, to be honest, I don't really. Mika would obviously have nothing but good words to say about the club, but I know what the club's like. I've been here now for 24 hours, and the whole club has been unbelievable. For me and my family, you can tell it just feels like like a family club. Just even when I'm at the training ground, when I'm here, it seems like a proper football club that's going in the right direction, challenging for titles, for the Champions League and stuff like that. And that's what I've come here to be a part of. And I can't actually say anything but good words.
You obviously play with Phil Foden at England level. We obviously love Phil. We rate him incredibly highly. But as somebody who's trained with him, played against him, just give us an insight into how good you think he is and how excited you are to play with him regularly now.
Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. I don't think anyone needs to be told that. I think everyone knows, how good he actually is. He's got the best first touch I've ever seen, ever. Whether the ball's coming out of the sky, whether it's been wrapped into him, he's just so smooth. The way he dribbles with the ball, he's actually much quicker than people give him credit for. And yeah, when we're away with England, I get on so well with him. He makes me laugh. He's like a little brother. But yeah, no, we got on so well at England, and it's one of them. I just can't wait to play with him. Like he says regularly, week in, week out, because I feel like sometimes when you have a connection with someone off the pitch, you can transfer that onto the pitch as well, and that's what me and Phil used to do in training when we was at England. We'd look for each other, we'd play 1-2s and stuff, and I can't wait to be doing that with him here.
Brilliant. Jack, congratulations once again. We're all absolutely delighted and we wish you the best for your time here.
No, thank you.
That was Jack Grealish there discussing his transfer to Manchester City. It was a real pleasure to meet him yesterday and a privilege to have the opportunity to ask him his first questions as a City player. I can honestly say that was probably the most enjoyable new signing interview I've been a part of, because he's got such a likeable personality, and I feel he really kind of injected himself into the interview, which was great. I loved the stuff about him not being able to catch Yaya Toure when he made his debut at the Etihad, and he clearly has a fantastic relationship with Phil Foden, so I'm looking forward to seeing those two play together. The outpouring of love that Jack has received on social media since the news broke has been nothing like I've seen before. He's clearly a very, very popular player within the game. To get a little bit more insight into Jack's first day and to see how a club media team works to get everything ready to reveal a new signing, I spoke to City producer John De Caux. John is inside the first team bubble and has been for the last 6 months. He took the lead on Thursday in terms of filming Jack's arrival, filming his medical, his contract signing, all that kind of stuff. So I just asked him what that experience was like.
So, yeah, it's a really interesting role for us because we get very little notice about the player's arrival. And then when we do get notice, we have to make sure that we're there to try and capture as much as we can to show the player's excitement, the player's nerves, the player's stress. These guys are human beings, and it's a big move for Jack that he's never had a transfer, never even had a medical in the past. So our job as producers are really to try and capture those intimate moments, and that takes a lot of planning, a lot of assistance from all the different departments here at City. And so in the case of Jack arriving on the evening before, quite late, and then I knew that he was going to be arriving for his medical the following morning at the MIP hospital attached here to the City Football Academy. So we were there waiting for him nice and early.
So you obviously were with Jack for most of the day on the day that he officially signed. Tell us what you saw, because I know you saw his medical. What did that entail, without going into too much detail? But and what else did you kind of see him do during the day?
Well, as you can imagine, with a player of such high value and such a big transfer, there are a lot of medical tests that do happen, and we were allowed to capture a lot of that, which is fantastic, just to show, that it's not a case that the player just comes and just gets a quick scan. Jack was on the treadmill, he was having things, put on him to test him, and it was actually quite a workout for him. We had a bit of a joke at the time actually about that he had all the signing to look forward to later in the day, but essentially he was doing a training session during that medical. So it was fascinating for me just as a football fan, not a producer, to just be watching, what that entailed, and to bring to the fans that process. I think it's something that's really important to fans, because you don't usually see a lot of that stuff.
So how do you measure how well you've done on a day like yesterday? I mean, obviously the final content is important, but from your role as being that kind of embedded person with a camera trying to capture the really intimate moments, what do you look back on and think, oh, I did this well, or I did this well? How do you measure yourself?
Yeah, I try and find that when you're a producer, cameraman sort of hybrid in that moment, I'm tested in the bubble, so I'm able to be in those situations in the first place. But actually, what I try and do is just sort of zone out and think, if I'm a fan here just filming this, I don't want to be constantly talking to these people. I just want to be taking in what is going on, but at the same time, with somebody like Jack, with such a personality that he's got, it was very clear that not just to me but all the staff at the hospital conducting the medical, that he was chatting away, talking about Love Island, and was just in really great spirits, and that then almost gave me the confidence to be able to just say a few little asides on camera, knowing that he was comfortable in my presence, and was able to really showcase his personality during that first day. Again, at a time where I said before, where it's only natural, he must have been hugely nervous at this point. But I think it just shows what sort of character he is, that you'd never know that.
So when you look back at the content, without wanting to mark our own homework too much, when you think of the tight turnaround time that the team had, etc., what did you think of what was produced, and how would you compare it maybe to other similar transfers that City have done in recent seasons?
Yeah, so I think we've got a fantastically talented media and content team here at City, and I think it showed yesterday in the timescale that we had to turn everything around on a day where there's bound to be lots of differing timescales and various different stresses throughout the day. We're able to absolutely, just kick into gear and do what we know we're good at. So not just, those and myself who was with Jack getting the behind the scenes type stuff. We had another team at the stadium capturing some absolutely lovely looking dressing room scenes with projections and the new kit with his number 10, which again, when he walked into that, he was just, wowed by it, found out he was number 10 for the first time. Everything just sort of clicked into gear. We then only had a couple of hours, maybe less than that actually, to turn around his sort of hero video, as you like, which, that is just a very important thing, that we know these deadlines are tight and we want to make sure that any creative idea we have, if it involves hours and hours of editing, then it's not the right idea for a day like this. So there's so many different things to think about. We had little social teasers on Twitter. We had social clips accompanying the hero video. We had a behind-the-scenes Inside City the following day. We had his master interview as well. So I think overall we were delighted how we were able to turn things around in the timescale we had, but also had such different types of rich content for the different platforms that it goes on. And for the whole team here, I think that was just really well done. You mentioned the number 10 thing there. That was the first time I think we've done that, certainly that I can remember. Usually the player finds out the number in private or in conversations with Cheeky or however that's done. Just take me through how that came about, that we were going to wait and actually reveal it to him with a shirt in the dressing room and capture his reaction, because I think it was one of the highlights of the day and it was really enjoyable. So how did that come about? To be honest, I'm not totally sure how it came about, because I wasn't right in that scene, as it were, at the dressing room. But I don't know whether we knew actually that he didn't know, but I think the scene that we created in that dressing room gave Jack that feeling, that wow factor, I suppose, and probably then led to him seeing that number. And, we probably thought, well, he might know the number anyway, but he'll react brilliantly to seeing it for the first time in the dressing room. The fact that he still actually didn't know the number until that point, I think just like amplified it even more. And it goes from a content maker's perspective, it goes back to that sort of, natural versus scripted, in terms of with these guys, what we try and do is we try and capture the actuality of what happens, but in a creative way. And Jack seeing his number for the first time was a perfect example of that, where we didn't have to direct him to do anything. We just let that scene play out, but we were in a situation where we could capture it really nicely.
I think his character and personality has made us all really excited about all the content we can capture with him while he's here. Just one other final question for me. COVID has obviously brought restrictions in kind of every walk of life. Just explain to me, purely from a day like yesterday, an activation like that, a new signing, what are the complications, what are the considerations, what are the difficulties that you face given the global health pandemic?
Yeah, so we definitely have difficulties that you wouldn't normally face as a content team. There was myself and another team member, Alex, who are in the tested Premier League bubble. We're able to be around the players, be around the medical, but obviously we have such a huge team behind the scenes working on everything else that needed to be tested on the day. They needed to be shown to have a negative test on the day, go through all of the club COVID protocol, looking at social distancing whilst filming. And again, all of these things we had to, really ensure that we had the right ideas to be able to execute it properly. And just allow us to sort of capture the moment. And it goes as well with going back to the shirt number and that moment. I think sometimes like that, when you don't have as many people in the room as you might want to have in a non-COVID world, you can actually get richer content as a result, because it all feels a lot more close-knit, it all feels a lot friendlier sometimes on set. So in that case, it really worked in our favour. The producers that were, setting everything up for hours and working nights to get it all ready probably wouldn't have the same view in the days before. I'm sure they'd have wanted some extra hands. But we're having to deal with the cards we've been dealt with COVID, and actually it's allowed us to be a lot more nimble, a lot more creative, and being able to sort of work with the constraints that gives us.
The tiring days, John, but they're some of the best days that we have in the job, aren't they? So thank you for giving us some insight into that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for on this episode of the Man City podcast. Thank you for joining us, and make sure that you like and subscribe wherever it is you do your podcast listening. This weekend we have full coverage of the Community Shield game at Wembley across mancity.com and the official Man City app. We'll have live text updates throughout the day, and our live show is very much back. In the evening we'll bring you highlights of the game, and City Plus subscribers can watch a full 90-minute replay. My advice, as always, is to download the official Man City app. It's the best place to get all the latest news and video. Until next time, take care and look after one another.